Narwal, the brand that made some of my favorite robot vacuums in the past, has just released their new flagship model, the Narwal Flow. This thing is different. Let's take a closer look and see what makes it so special. Thanks for joining me in another video. My name is Shane and this channel is all about helping you build an easy smart home that just works. We've got new videos and live streams right here every week. Thanks to Narwal for sponsoring today's video and sending me their newly released flagship Narwal Flow robot vacuum and mop. I've been a fan of Narwal robot vacuums for years now, so I was excited to try out their latest innovations and features. And I got to preview this one back in January at CES, and I've been pretty excited about it ever since. Their new Narwal Flow takes many of the innovations that they've incorporated in their past robot vacuums to just another level. And this is their first one that has a real-time self-cleaning track mop. It's got the twin AI obstacle avoidance that I loved from the previous flagship model, 22,000 pascals of suction power. The Narwal Flow can also lift itself to cross thresholds up to 1.6 inches, and it's only 3.7 inches tall, so it can fit underneath a lot of furniture and cabinets. And of course, we have that all-in-one base station with the auto emptying dust, AI adaptive mop washing with hot water, self-cleaning, hot air drying, and much more. So let's go ahead and start with that new mopping system and take a closer look and see why I like it so much. The Narwal Flow has this new self-cleaning track mop system. Previous models used the dual spinning pads like mini robot vacuums. This type of mop should be much better at not spreading dirt, than like those spinning mop pads or the vibrating pads that we've seen on other robot vacuums. And we've seen a few other brands with like a roller style mop, kind of like a paint roller, but this one here is different. It has a really nice wide track mop, so it has even more coverage than those other types. And of course, the mop can extend out while it's cleaning to get right up to the edges of the walls and stuff like that. So really nice mopping here. I really like that it has that really thick absorbent mop pad. And as someone with real hardwood floors in my house, I don't want to oversaturate, the floors with water when I'm mopping. So I do think this type of mop is probably best to use for those real hardwood floors. You can also adjust the amount of water being used when it mops, so you can use very little water, or you can use a lot of water if you want for different types of floors like tile or something else. It uses 113-degree warm water to wash the track mop in real time as it's cleaning. There are 16 hole nozzles that continuously and evenly spray that warm water on the track pad from the built-in clean water tank, and there's a scraper that continuously cleans the pad as it mops. The dirty water is extracted and stored in the built-in dirty water tank, which even has a stirrer that prevents residue and odors from building up. The track mop applies 12 nits of pressure while mopping, and that 113-degree warm water for a wide, deep clean. I tested it with coffee and even dried up ketchup to see how this does. It really mops up things well without spreading the mess around, which I like. All right, I'm not even gonna lie, I'm gonna be super impressed if this thing can clean up this mess right here. This is dried up ketchup that has been sitting here all day long. Let's see how it does. Now, it did require a few extra passes with the mop, but eventually it did clean up all of that dried ketchup on the tile floor. Now, one of the big reasons I loved Narwal's last flagship model, the Frio Z Ultra, was because of the incredible obstacle avoidance using its twin AI dodge system. It was the first time that I could use a robot vacuum without having to pick up, around the house before letting it clean. The Narwal Flow uses a dual RGB camera system and can identify over 200 different types of objects. And what's really cool is that thanks to its dedicated AI chip, it can quickly analyze detected objects and clean the area accordingly. For example, if it detects things like furniture legs, it will get really close, just as close as possible to clean around those. But for other things, like maybe cords or dog poop, it will maintain a safer distance to prevent spreading. If a cord is detected, it'll stop one side of the brush to avoid touching it and getting, all tangled up. You'll be able to see in the app when and where objects are detected, and even show you a picture of them if you enable that feature. And for privacy, all personal and home environment data is kept locally within the AI chip on the robot and not transmitted to the cloud. I think this is the first robot vacuum that I'm actually gonna run on a schedule a few times a week, since I don't have to worry about cleaning up before running the vacuum. Now, when it comes to vacuuming, this one has some pretty unique features that I don't think I've seen before in others. So when carpet is detected, the brush cover will automatically lower to create a sealed high pressure airflow zone. That's how they explain it, which significantly boosts suction to lift dust and hair for just a deeper clean through your carpets. Also, as you'd expect, the mop will automatically lift up to keep your carpets dry, and it does also have a carpet max mode that activates high-powered suction and will perform like 2 zigzag passes to clean the carpet fibers from both directions. Another thing I've always loved about Narwal vacuums is the zero tangle floating brush that prevents hairs from getting tangled around it. Plus, the new side brushes on this one that can move back and forth are supposed to prevent hair from getting tangled up around those parts. So we'll see. I haven't had any hair tangles around any of mine so far. The self-cleaning base station on this does it all. It collects the dust in the dust bag, and that should only need to be replaced about once every 4 months or so. It has a clean water and dirty water tank. The dock cleans the mop and cleans itself. It has built-in sensors that can identify how dirty the mop is, and if it detects that the mop is super dirty, it will increase the water temperature to 140 degrees Fahrenheit to clean the mop, and then to 176 degrees Fahrenheit to kill any bacteria. And finally, 104 degrees of hot air will dry the mop once it's done cleaning, again to just prevent any bacteria or growth buildup there in your system. And it's all surprisingly quiet while it's doing all this. Overall, I mean, this thing here is really incredible. I already like Narwal products, but this one here with that new extendable track mop with that thick absorbent pad, I think is just great. I've always been a little hesitant to mop too much on my hardwood floors, but with this, I just do feel a lot better about it, and I'm excited to let it do full cleanings, vacuuming, and mopping much more often. I think regardless of what kind of floors you have, and even with most carpets, this here is a great product to help you keep your house clean on a daily basis. Now, the Narwal Flow does support Amazon, Alexa, Google Home, and shortcuts just like the previous models, but unfortunately, there is no Matter support at the time of this recording. That is definitely a bummer and might be a deal breaker for some of you. Totally understand. I would have liked to see that since Apple Home now supports robot vacuums. To me, that's probably the biggest downside that I've seen with this product. Again, it does support Alexa, Google Home, and Siri shortcuts, so that may be enough for you. That is enough to make my wife happy since she can just use Siri to start the vacuum. And I have also created a custom shortcut to give me all of the major commands that I need with just a quick tap on my home screen on the iPhone. Even without Matter support, this here is going to be the vacuum mop that we're going to keep using for now because I truly think it is the best option for mopping our hardwood floors. If you want to check out the Narwal Flow for yourself, I'll put links to everything down below in the description. The price is $1,499, so it's definitely not a cheap product. They are running a launch price of $1,099, so that's a pretty good deal for a new flagship robot vacuum. They also have the base station option that integrates directly into your water line, so you never have to worry about emptying or refilling the water tanks if that's something you can utilize and install. You can get that version for about $100 more than the standard version. I've found that when it comes to robot vacuums and mops, honestly, you kind of get what you pay for. I think anyone that invests in something like this is going to be happy in the long run. But let me know what you think. If this video was helpful, drop a like and subscribe for more smart home videos every week, and come join me during my next live stream. Would love to see you there in the chat. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.